that stands out from everybody else? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you the number one communication mistake, not mistake, communication skill, I would say rather, that leaders tend to forget. And you want to watch this video until the end, because if you are a woman in leadership, if you are a man in leadership, you want to know what this skill is, because this skill will help you stand out from everybody else as a leader. If this sounds interesting to you, you definitely want to watch until the end of this video. Now, I want to say that leadership is hard. Leadership is hard. It can be very challenging, and oftentimes, regardless of whether you are in my target audience as a woman in leadership that I work with specifically, or you happen to be a man in leadership or someone that is just learning about the leadership journey, it can be really challenging for you. And this communication skill I'm sharing with you is what I have seen over the past 20 years as a C-suite executive, a manager, and a director, that people really struggle with. They genuinely do struggle with this skill. And after this video, you're going to know what this skill is, and you're going to be in a situation where you are not going to struggle with it, hopefully, that much more. You may be wondering, well, I already communicate well. I do very well. I'm great at speaking to other people. I'm great at speaking with my teams. I'm a wonderful public speaker. And I want to congratulate you on that, because it takes a long time to develop those public speaking skills to communicate at a higher level than your peers. However, there is this one communication skill that I see people struggle with so much, that you want to make sure that you are prepared for, even if you are someone that is just starting your journey as a leader, if you are someone that is more accomplished or more seasoned as a leader. This one skill that I'm going to share with you will set you apart from everybody else. Now, this is a live video, therefore there is typically a point in time where the audience will join the conversation. Therefore, give me just a few moments to say hello to everyone whenever they join, and you're more than likely watching the replay at this point. So I'm glad that you're here and you're spending a few moments out of your day with me today to learn about this topic. I appreciate you all so much. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. And if you're new to me, my name is Dr. Jacinta, and I'm here to really help you be able to elevate how you communicate as a leader. I specifically work with women in leadership in my executive coaching and consulting practice, and I'm here to provide you with insight. If you happen to be outside of that leadership category that I work with specifically, that's okay. You may be a man in leadership, or you may be someone that is thinking about leadership, but you're just not quite sure exactly what you should do, how you should get into it, or what you should say. This is the best place for you to learn a lot of information that will help you on your journey. Now, as I mentioned, this is the skill. This is the skill that many leaders struggle with. And you could be someone that can communicate very well, that speaks very well to audiences and etc. However, if you happen to be in a situation where this happens to you, you might struggle a little bit. And that specifically is the number one leadership skill, communication skill, that leaders tend to forget about, is how to communicate under pressure. Under pressure is completely different than your average communication skills. So let me give you an example. There are so many videos here that talk about communicating. How do you communicate? What do you do? And etc. But do they talk about how do you communicate under pressure? We're going to talk about that a little bit in the live today. So I want to say hello to Pankaj Singh. Hello, Pankaj. How are you doing today? And Pankaj says, Happy Makar Sankranti to the doctor. Well, tell me what that means, because I don't know what that means specifically, but I would be so excited to hear what it says, what it means. Pankaj is a regular here on the channel, and I appreciate you being here. So absolutely, I'm so glad to see you today, friend. Now, as I mentioned, there's a lot as it relates to communication. There's communication programs. There's Toastmasters that I was a part of and became a distinguished Toastmaster with Toastmasters International. Typically, they have 1% of their 358,000 members to accomplish this award. So I know a bit about public speaking and communicating, and this is the reason why I'm sharing with you why this skill specifically is one that really people try to struggle with. So before I go into the skill, I want to see what Pankaj had to say. Pankaj says, it's a festival today in India We fly kites here on this day. Wow, that's fantastic. Do you have, or can you share some insight about the festival in terms of, I know you fly kites, I think that's amazing. What the festival represents, I would say, in India. I would appreciate if you can share a little bit about that, because keep in mind, even though we're talking about leadership communication and the skill that a lot of people tend to forget, this is still a community, and I want to learn as much as I can about you all. I know many of you are joining from different parts of the world. Just as Pankaj mentioned, there's a festival where they fly kites today. Would love to learn more about it, and I would love for my audience to learn more about it too, because we all are in different places of the world. I want to say hello to David Miller 4807. Hello, David. Hope you're doing fantastically well today. And let's see what David is talking about, not just on social media. So, okay, so David specifically, and thank you, David, for clarifying that, because on YouTube, David, I'll be honest with you, there's, especially when you're going live, people say some really very offensive and ridiculous things, and I appreciate you clarifying that. That's the reason why I didn't say it. So David specifically says, don't forget physical communication, not just social media. Yes, so that's what we're going to focus on today. So David brings a really good point there, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday as a discrepancy. And so for those of you who are watching, welcome. Please tell me, let me know what part of the big beautiful world you are joining from today. And if you want to learn a communication skill that most leaders forget about, you absolutely want to watch this video. I want to say hello to JWJ1106. Hello, how you doing, JWJ? Okay, so David, for you specifically, yesterday I attended an event here in Fort Lauderdale. It is called an Aspire Tour event. They had a lot of well-known people there. The speakers, some of them, there was a lot. I'll just name a few. Kevin O'Leary was there, Jordan Belfort, Gary Vaynerchuk, Renee Rodriguez, Andrew Cordell, and many other people that were present. And what I mentioned yesterday, going into the topic, as what you mentioned specifically, David, that I see a lot of times that can happen with content creators, influencers, people that represent themselves online, is the way they communicate online is a little bit different than how they communicate when they are in person. And I say that because a lot of people have been very disappointed when they interact with these people online, and they think, oh wow, they're really great online, but when you meet them in person, you're thinking, wait, that's how they communicate? And I did want to mention that all of the speakers yesterday that I listened to are true to who they are. Jordan is the same way that he speaks on video as he is in person. Same thing with Kevin, same thing with Gary. All of them, they speak the exact same way. So physical communication is very, very important. Now, what I want to mention, that the number one communication skill that leaders tend to forget is how to communicate under pressure. So before I go into that, I want to see what's going on in the chat. David Miller is from Florida. What part of Florida are you from, David? I'm in South Florida right now. And JWJ says they live in Maryland. What part of Maryland do you live in, JWJ 1106? I went to dental school at the amazing Howard University in Washington, D.C. and spent a lot of time in Maryland. Love the state of Maryland. I think it's a wonderful state, but of course I love the Sunshine State more. That's why I'm here. Now, many leaders forget how to communicate under pressure. And for those of you joining, feel free to let me know where you're joining from today and what questions you have about leadership communication. But under pressure is something that people forget. You can be that individual that knows how to speak in front of an audience. Maybe you are an elected official and you know how to communicate with other people. Maybe you are a seasoned leader and you know how to speak to other people. You feel very confident in terms of how you communicate and speak to others. But what happens when you are a public speaker and you are speaking to a group and they ask you challenging questions? That requires you to communicate under pressure. What happens when you are a leader that is a C-suite executive and you are challenged a lot in your board meetings? That is when you have to communicate under pressure. What happens when you're in a salary negotiation? You have to communicate under pressure. What happens if you are an elected or a public official and you are being heckled in an audience? you have to communicate under pressure. And the reason I mention this is because so many people really struggle with communicating under pressure. And before I go into that, I want to say hello to Pratik Galatkar 1011. Hello, Pratik. Good to see you today, friend. Hope you're doing well today. Always glad to have you on the lives. So, as I mentioned, these are situations where you have to communicate under pressure. And this is the skill that most leaders do not know how to do. They struggle with. Not all, but quite a few. If you've seen any leaders in your lifetime that have a hard time communicating under pressure, or they act out in a very irrational, not calm way, let me know in the comments below. I would like to see what leaders you're referring to, and we can have a brief conversation about it. If I'm not able to go into a ton of detail on that today specifically, I'll talk a little bit more about it this evening. So Pratik Galatkar 1011 says, I'm doing good. It's festival in India, Makar Sankranti. You know what? Pankaj Singh just said the same thing and mentioned that this is where you fly kites in India. And so what I asked specifically for Pankaj to mention, if they're able to, is to let us know what the origins is of the festival. Why is it there? Because there's many people, as you know, Pratik Galatkar, that are joining from around the world. And even though we're talking about heavily advanced communication skills and strategies, I do want to make sure the community as a whole, we get to know each other in different cultures. I personally don't know anything about it specifically, which is the reason why I asked about learning a little bit more about it specifically, just to get some insight there. Now, as I mentioned, communicating under pressure is something that leaders tend to forget. And you can be the most accomplished speaker. You can speak in front of people and be able to motivate your audience, persuade other individuals, influence them, and etc. But what happens when the pressure is on? That is my question to you. What do you do when you are under pressure as a leader? This is where people really do struggle with. Now, if you are a woman in leadership and you are in a role where you have noticed that you're going to be a lot more visible this year, maybe you have received a promotion, maybe you're starting your business or you're doing something differently, you're welcome to reach out to me if you want to have a conversation to make sure that you are presenting yourself the best way you can as you are communicating under pressure. I have one of my services is called an executive communication analysis that is a very in-depth, over 20 years of guidance and expertise that you will learn in terms of how to communicate at that higher level and learn what are some of the subtle gestures, ways that you communicate that might be preventing you from being able to earn more income, being able to have more of an influence and make a bigger impact on your communities, your businesses, your world, your constituents, and etc. Feel free to contact me for a strategy session in the description below. We can talk about where you are and where you're planning to go and how I can support you to get there. If you are a man in leadership and you are someone that is not in the leadership world just yet, the information I share with you on my channel will help you in some way, shape, or form. I guarantee you that you will learn something here on my live tab. You're going to learn a lot of information. I have so many wonderful subscribers. A lot of them are present here today, and I appreciate you all being here. And I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you any way that I can. Even if you're not in my direct audience that I work with specifically, that is okay. I'm here to support you. Feel free to ask me any questions on any of my videos. Just leave a comment, or you can contact me at Excite Excellence at Instagram, or on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and on Facebook. And you're also welcome to reach out to me on LinkedIn at Dr. Jacinta Lamontai as well. I'm here to help you any way that I can. Just let me know what you're struggling with right now as it relates to communication, and I'll help you. Now, as I mentioned, this is only the beginning. Identifying that communicating under pressure is one of the skills that leaders tend to forget about is just the beginning. If you're wanting to dive more into this, then contact me, of course. But I want to be able to let you know that you can learn how to communicate under pressure. I know it sounds scary and it sounds like something that is very difficult to do, but if you join me here, subscribe to my channel, or follow me on social media, I will share with you strategies to help you be able to do that. There's only a certain amount I can give to you here on YouTube. there comes a point in time where we have to work together directly. And one of the things that I learned yesterday from the Aspire event that I talked about and wanted to reemphasize here is that these well-known individuals, Kevin O'Leary, Jordan Belfort, Gary Vaynerchuk, Renee Rodriguez, Andrew Cordell, the one consistent theme that they all talked about was having mentorship. If you do not know how to do something, then you need to find someone that knows how to do it, that has experience in it, that can help you, and invest in yourself to learn that skill. This is a theme, a very common theme that was discussed during the event. It was heavily focused on you need mentorship, you need guidance, you have to invest in yourself. I invested in myself yesterday by attending the event. I mean, I'm glad that I went to the event because it was such a very much an event that changes your perspective on life, not necessarily just on you being a business owner, but also with you being an individual, gaining wealth, building wealth, and things along those lines. It was a really great event, and learning how to find those mentors, invest in yourself, invest in your growth is truly how you can become that person that goes to that next level. Kevin O'Leary mentioned this yesterday, and I mentioned this last night in the live. He said that 75% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And if Kevin O'Leary says that, I will agree. I will take that as being accurate because Kevin O'Leary knows a lot. I have a lot of respect for him. So this is something I don't want you all to be. And I don't want you to be in that 75% of Americans that are living paycheck to paycheck, which is why I want you to subscribe to the channel if you find this to be of interest to you, because how you communicate can dictate how much you're able to earn, how much you are able to generate in terms of revenue for yourself or for your business. This is why I'm here. I'm here to support you any way that I can, to help you communicate at a higher level than your peers. And if you are a woman in leadership, you're welcome to contact me for a strategy session. Let's talk about how we can get you to that next level in 2026. And if you're a man in leadership, I appreciate you being here. You're going to learn a lot of information here. As many of the men that are in my audience know, I'm here to support you regardless of whether you are a woman in leadership or a man in leadership. I want you all to be very successful so that your future generations are successful as well. Pratik Galatkar says, and there are many cultural reasons to celebrate Makar Sankranti. Fantastic. I appreciate you, Pratik, for mentioning that, and I appreciate Pankaj Singh for mentioning that as well, because I want to know. I mean, I really want to learn. You all are regulars on my channel, and even though we're in different countries, I respect individuals from India. You have so much that you have offered to the world, and I just want to learn as much as I can about the individuals that are part of my channel here. All right, we have, let's see. Sorry, I am driving and I need to turn, and there's a lot of people coming. So hold on just a minute and I will be able to see who just came on the live. Let's see, Nostral 4223, tell me about the first time. Okay, so that's not really important and appropriate. I'll tell you that right now. That's just not what we talk about here on this channel. Somebody said something really important or inappropriate, and I apologize for everybody that happened to see that nonsense. All right, we have Pratik Galatkar says, please read the message before I have it explained. Okay, the one where you said, and there are many cultural reasons to celebrate Makar Sankranti. Yes, so if you can let me know what it is, that would be great. Now, I'm about to finish up with the live today, so Pratik Galatkar, if you are on any of the other lives, let me know what that means. I really want to learn more about that festival. It's something, it sounds like you said, there's many cultural reasons why we need to celebrate it. So let me know. I'm really looking forward to learning more about it. Funky Fresh Salvatore, I hope you're doing well. Good morning, good afternoon. Well, I hope this information provided you with some insight. Feel free to join me a little bit later this evening. We'll dive a bit more into communicating under pressure so that you can learn how to master this skill. And I will see you all in the next live. Bye for now.